Well, the issue is particularly important to influencers like Kusha Nuri. He has more than 150,000 followers on TikTok and makes 70% of his income through videos like this one. Kusha Nuri joins me now. Hey, cool video, I have to say. You're in Los Angeles right now. Great to have you on. I am sure you've been following very closely as well what we've been hearing from the TikTok CEO and the hearing. Is there anything that stood out for you that might be concerning, weighing that up against the positive impact that TikTok has clearly had on your life?
Yeah, definitely. I thank you for having me, by the way. And I think the conversation is really swaying in areas of data security, which is important, but I think there's huge points being missed around the gathering of community, the importance of education, and really the foundation that this platform has provided for so many people like myself to really allow people to flourish and grow in a new format that we've never seen. And something that really does concern, I think, the creator community as a whole is that a lot of these decision makers in Congress and across the government don't necessarily understand the social media landscape like the average American or creator does.
It was really fascinating. I mean, we all use social media platforms. And the one thing that really stuck out for me is, when they were asked about their financials, the CEO, Mr. Chu, was constantly saying, we're a private company. We don't disclose that information. But he said, look, you are getting data for free. What about paying the users so that maybe that would make you change tack in terms of being a bit more transparent? I know that TikTok influencers do get some income from TikTok itself, but it was just an interesting narrative that's playing out because this is the macro picture. I guess you're in it, you're living and experiencing the impact, but from a macro perspective, it is fascinating to see what lawmakers are thinking.
Completely. And to your point about the economic impact for somebody like me, not only does TikTok provide things like the Creator Fund that does monetize our content, but it is such a huge launching pad and accelerator for so many people creating content to open a world of opportunity that really does unlock economic benefits and opportunity for all of us across the board.
Are you worried that the app will be banned? What happens to you?
It would definitely cause a total shift in my strategy as a creator, as an advertiser, and there is broad concern around sort of plan B of if this does go away. I've been saying repeatedly, I think content creators should continue diversifying their presence across platforms, dipping into all buckets and really utilizing every tool that we have. But as a community, we really would feel a loss with the ban of TikTok.
I mean, one of the biggest questions was, the national security threat, whether the Chinese government has access to user data. How does that make you feel if the Chinese government had access to your data, to your peers' data?
I think that raises a broader question around all social media and data in general. I think this is a really new conversation that we're having with the expansion of social media and how all social media, even American social media, has access to our personal information. There's other social media channels that have access to health data, and that doesn't seem true with TikTok either. So I think it's a broader conversation around how our data is accessed in general, which I think is extremely important. But I am concerned about not only the loss of data, but also the loss of our community.
And I get that. And the conversation was really broadened out to the impact that it's having on kids, on the younger population, that we don't really know what impact it's going to have down the line. And that is concerning. Even, I mean, from someone like me who's got a young daughter, I'm worried about what kind of world she's going to be stepping into. How is that risk being taken up within your community that's benefiting, as I said, from being on this platform?
I think it's extremely important to keep kids in mind, especially in the creator community and also the people that are behind these applications, all of them. And I do think content policy guidelines are to be taken extremely seriously, and that the future of children is very important when shaping our social media landscape. Although I think TikTok has some of the most rigorous community guidelines, and I think as creators, we pride ourselves in upholding that and keeping TikTok a place for education and uplifting people. And especially with different measures around the country that don't necessarily keep children in mind. You're looking at, different gun control laws like that, where there's plenty of things in the country that physically put children at harm. And that being said, I still think it's extremely important to abide by community guidelines and keep children top of mind as we create content.
Kushanuri, thank you so very much. We've been playing in tandem some of your great videos. I'm going to have to find you on social media. Thank you so much for your time.